Hey, what's up, you guys? Jeff Cohn here with another episode of the Team Building Podcast, where we interview top team leaders, broker owners, and thought leaders from across the country. Super excited to be doing a solo episode today, talking about the topic for December for our high-level team leader coaching mastermind group, which is career visioning. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about how to prepare our agents and staff for goal setting in 2023, how we get their mindset in the right place to determine income, and how income should be specific to the life that we want to live. I'm going to talk about some of the books that I've read, some of the podcasts I've listened to, and some of the people I've masterminded with, which has helped give me the mindset I have around this topic. And as a true leader, I want to help the people in my world become the best versions of themselves, and that's what career visioning is all about. Before I go any further, a quick invitation to checking out Elite Real Estate Systems website and all of the things that we can offer you free of charge. You can go out to growwithers.com to learn more about that. We have all of our upcoming events. You can register for this podcast, email updates every time a new podcast drops. You can download our free Elite Guide to building and scaling a dominant team in your market, and much, much more. So go take advantage of that. And if you haven't already, if you think that this podcast is valuable, you believe others would find it valuable as well, please go out to the app you use to listen to podcasts. It might be Spotify, YouTube, Apple, and please give us a 5-star review and say something about the podcast, a guest that we've had on, some type of a positive shout out to us. And this is the algorithm that helps others find us so that we can create more impact and effect in the lives of others. Super excited today to get into this topic, career visioning. This is where the rubber meets the road. A lot of us want to become better ourselves. You come to a certain level where you realize that to become better yourself, you have to help those around you become better versions of themselves. And of course, there's lots of ways to do that. Speaking specifically to team leaders in the residential real estate space, and this applies to any space, there are people that join your world, and they join your world for a lot of different reasons. Lead gen might be a reason, coaching, culture, an office, the brokerage brand you're with, and the list goes on and on. But the truth is that they stay in your world because you become the conduit or the vehicle that's going to allow them to realize their dreams, to live and lead the life that they've always wanted. You're going to help them make more money in less time with less energy while accomplishing this. So to be able to put our mindset where it needs to be, which is where the agent's mindsets need to be, we have to become self-aware, self-actualized. We have to know what we want out of life, and then we have to be able to define what would our income level need to be to live and lead the life of our dreams. I tease oftentimes from stage and in other masterminds, there's a movie called Office Space. And in the movie Office Space, he talks about having $1 million, one of the main characters in the movie. And he's telling his neighbor, I wish I had $1 million. What would you do if you had $1 million? And his neighbor says, you don't need $1 million to do nothing, because the main character said, I'd do nothing. He said, you don't need $1 million to do nothing. I think it's like his cousin lives in his mom's basement and does nothing all the time. And I always thought that was really funny, because I think oftentimes we have a dollar amount that we think we need to earn to live and lead the life of our dreams, but we haven't even defined the life we need. We just picked an arbitrary number based on what we heard, based on the download of our childhood, the download of our high school existence, the download we got from our parents or people that were influential in our lives. But it's arbitrary. And I'll even do a quick test. Everybody listening, how much money do you want to make in 2023? Everybody listening, what's the most amount of money you would ever need to make to be okay, to be happy, to be satisfied, to be fulfilled, to be excited? How much money would you need to make to reach your wildest potential? What is your big, hairy, audacious goal? Everybody came up with a number. Everybody already had a number they had downloaded or embedded in their mind. But the biggest question and the biggest disconnect I find in coaching and consulting with top teams and brokerages across the country is that the number people come up with is not directly tied to the activities one would choose to do with the income. It's arbitrary. And if it's arbitrary, it's not motivating. It's lackluster. And so when it comes to career visioning, we ourselves as leaders first have to define the life we want to live. How do we want to spend our time, our awake time, which is about 127 hours a week for me. for someone that sleeps around 6 hours a night. What do we want to do in that 127 hours when we're not sleeping? How do we want to spend that time? Who do we want to spend our time with? Where do we want to spend it? And what do we want to spend it doing? How do we want to spend it giving? And then, of course, how do we want to spend it receiving? And once we've defined that life we want to live, we then can try to solve the income that would be required to live that life. If I want to own 12 vacation rentals and they're all Airbnb cash flowing and they're in 12 different areas, maybe across the world, and I have to fly to those locations and then I have to eat and I have to be able to do some activities, how much would I need to do that? You know, everybody has different goals. You might want to save money for your kids' college. You might want to have enough money for every person that ever comes after you's college. And it's not our job. It's not my job to define your goal. It's everyone listening's job to define their own goals. And I will tell you, as you check those goals off the list, you'll become enlightened and you'll advance your position of what you want out of your life and you'll create new goals. And you'll say the goal is bigger, but it's not necessarily bigger. It's just different. But you can't see that goal from this vantage point. Your perception will change as you achieve at a high level. For most people that don't achieve, which I've always said 98% of people are sheep, 1% are wolves, and 1% are shepherds. The sheep accept grazing on grass. They're not looking for anything different. They've accepted where they are, and they have no desire to change. And I can share with you an easy sequence of questions to know what someone's true intention is to change. If it's about money, which is often the topic that comes up when we're speaking with real estate agents that are thinking about joining our organization, I would say, how much money do you want to generate? That's the cliche question. That's not what I would say. But one would say, how much money do you want to make? And the traditional answer I hear is, man, if I could make $100,000 a year, I'd be set. And I would ask, what did you make last year? And they would say, not close to 100,000. And I'd say, how much did you make? And they'd reluctantly tell me the truth or they'd lie. And let's say they said, I made 50,000. The next question will tell you if they're truly willing to change. And that is, what did you do to earn the right to make 100,000, which is the number you want to earn? And or what are you going to do? What are you willing to commit to doing to be able to change so that your income changes, so that then hopefully your life changes? And these are the tough conversations that nobody wants to face, because what they come to recognize, what the sheep, what the we, myself included, come to recognize is to have more and or to have different. We have to become more and we have to become different. And until you're at the point where you can recognize that you can't get to where you want to go doing the same thing you did to get to where you are, you will be able to create change in your own life. And once we've been able to find that formula to create that change in our own life, we will be empowered to help others create that change in their life. And so again, this is what the topic's going to be for the month of December for our Elite Real Estate Systems Team Leader Coaching product. So what we have done is we've come up with a pattern that works, that we work with each individual agent and admin person within our organizations to help them first become self-aware. And we ask the simple question, go back to high school, go back to college, and you dreamed about a perfect life. What's that life look like? Don't be a sheep. Don't plug into the download. What's your life? We each live our own. What's your life look like? And then if the person is brave, they'll accept the question and they'll take a few moments and they'll start to share. Well, I always thought I'd have a lake house. I always thought I'd have money saved away for my kids' college fund. I always thought I'd be able to give $100,000 a year to my favorite charity. I always thought I'd be able to drive the newest Range Rover. I'd always thought I'd be able to take my family every year to Disney World. Whatever the things are, they start to dream. And a really easy way to get this out of someone is to ask the question, if you had won the $1 billion jackpot, what would you do differently? If you won 10 million, what would you do differently? And the answer someone gives you, to me, those are people's dreams. It's their wildest dreams that they don't think are realistic, so they have to have this arbitrary pretend scenario of winning money to be able to have that life. Well, it's not arbitrary and it's not fake. All of us listening to the podcast, we know we can have any life we want if we choose to change and if we're willing to do the hard work. So we first work with each individual to define their life, the career visioning piece. Biggest career visioning component is knowing where somebody wants to go. If you don't know where you want to go, then you'll never go anywhere. You'll never get anywhere. Once they know where they want to go, we as their success manager or coach or someone within the organization needs to work with them on determining exactly the dollar amount they would need to generate to realize their dreams. Once we know the dollar amount, we can talk about key performance indicators, KPIs, exactly what is the activity that that person would need to do every day, every week, every month, and every year consistently over the year span to get the certain dollar amount result to get to then go live and lead their life. And then taking it even further, what's the accountability? What are the checks and balances we're going to put in place as the leader to make sure they're doing the activity? And to also make sure that when the revenue's coming, that they're acting on their dream. So often I think people make the income, but they're spending 80 hours a week generating that income. And then they're not even living the life they wanted to live when they made the 80 grand. Or sorry, when they're working the 80 hours and they made the dollar amount. They're not living the life that they said they'd live because they're too busy working. And the work that in and of itself isn't their dream. So Millionaire Real Estate Agent does a great job outlining the idea behind the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And that is a person that can net $1 million a year passively, working less than 5 hours a week on their business. Ask yourself, would you like to net $1 million a year with working less than 5 hours a week on your business or businesses? Would you like to net $10 million a year working less than 5 hours a week on your business or businesses? Is that even a possibility? Do you believe it's a possibility? I 100% know it's a possibility. I know it because I know people that do it. I know it because I've done it. And the difference between me, you, and all of those other people comes down to the change they were willing to accept, the pain they were willing to endure. But a close friend reminded me one day, we pick our pain. It's hard to be poor. It's hard to become rich. It's hard to be fat. It's hard to be in good shape. So pick your hard, pick your pain. I'd rather err on the side that's going to allow me to create more impact and effect in the lives of others. I'd rather be a thought leader because I've done something hard than be a person constantly seeking out thought leadership. You are a leader. If you're listening, you're a leader. Even if you don't have someone today that you lead, you're building yourself in to become a person that others follow. To become a better version of yourself, you have to continue to read and or listen to audiobooks. You have to continue listening to podcasts. It doesn't have to be this one, but listen to podcasts like this. And you have to continue masterminding with people like you and people where you want to go. I always tease and I'll say, I want to be like you when I grow up. I played pickleball last night with the number one pickleball player in Nebraska, who's also the tennis coach for one of the top universities in Nebraska. And he was or still is a professional pickleball player. And I want to be like him when I grow up. He's a lot younger than me, but I want to be like him when I grow up. I don't know that I'll ever be at his skill level, but I definitely can take a step to get closer to his skill level. And every day that I practice to become more like him, I will become more like him. And the same goes for anything and everything we want to improve at. You might never be as good as insert the person. You might never have as much money as insert the person. But the goal in life is not to pass a finish line like that. It's not to check a box that we got to a certain point. The goal in life is the journey. It's to constantly improve. The sheep aren't improving, using that as the metaphor. They're eating, they're grazing, they're doing their daily routine, but they're not changing. As a shepherd, we change so we can do a better job at the people that follow us, serving the people that follow us. And of course, the wolves are after our ankles. They are the crab effect. They are wanting to take advantage of everyone. They want to put people in a bucket. They don't want to see you change. They don't want to see you grow. It's your friends that roll their eyes every time you talk about a new book. It's your family member that roll their eyes every time you talk about the next investment property you just bought or the next seminar you just went to. And they only roll their eyes and they only act disgusted because they've rolled their eyes and been disgusted with themselves for a very long time. When people point one finger at you, they're pointing 4 fingers back at themselves. And people are very angry at others' successes because they're angry at their own failures, or at least what they perceive to be failure. And so as we get into career visioning and as we help serve as the shepherd to your businesses, and we look on to 2023, we see a lot of murky waters. We see a lot of challenges that are going to be coming towards us, and we embrace all of those challenges. KW Elite, the market center and brokerage that we own in Nebraska, Elite Real Estate Systems, the coaching company that we founded in 2017 that has impacted the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. We embrace change because we know it helps us to become stronger. We know that when others run like the wolves, the shepherd will stand strong to serve their people, to serve their flock. And we're here to serve you. So we are so grateful to everyone that listens to these episodes. We're grateful. We have a lot of gratitude, obviously, this time of year, in all of the people who've entrusted us with helping them realize their dreams and helping them lead their agents, lead their families, lead their staff to become better versions of themselves. And we have to continue to grow ourselves. And I will be the first to admit I have a lot of growth. I have a lot of people I want to be like when I grow up, and I have a lot to learn, and I will continue on that journey. And I invite everyone else to continue on that journey with us. And I invite you to invite those that follow you to continue that journey with you as well. And with that, we'll put a bow on this episode. Appreciate you guys following us and supporting us. And the best way to continue to do so is to check out growwithers.com. Find out how to become part of our coaching organization, which includes topical and mastermind training every week. We have agent training twice a week. We have investor training. We have ancillary business training. And we offer all of this at the lowest rate I've seen in the industry. It's less than $1,000 a month. So find out more information at growwithers.com. And until next time, thank you.